Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Well, all of you have been waiting and praying and waiting that something was going to stop the madness that is ATF's rule on pistol braces. And as we know from this video right here, yes, the Fifth Circuit, that's what we were all hoping for, did issue an injunction yesterday, but if you're not one of the named plaintiffs, you do not enjoy the fruits of those labors. That has many of us freaking out. Oh my God, is the clock still ticking? Am I going to run up against this deadline? And right now the answer is yes. But the plaintiffs on Mock v. Garland are going to try one last Hail Mary pass, and I want to talk to you about that so you can see where they're going with this. So today, let's spend a few very important minutes, get you all up to speed on how the Fifth Circuit came up short and what's being done about it. Okay, so the case we're talking about yet again today is the case of Mock v. Garland. It is a case that, as we know, we were waiting on bated breath for a ruling on a nationwide injunction out of the Fifth Circuit. That ruling came out yesterday, an injunction was granted, but unless you are one of these named plaintiffs right here, then you are still living under the purview of ATF's pistol brace rule. Now, what have the plaintiffs done here? Primarily, Firearms Policy Coalition, which is leading the charge here, and I can assure you that this litigation is in really good hands. What the plaintiffs have filed here is a motion for clarification on the injunctive remedy. So they are basically asking the court to clarify their injunctive relief, because as we know, the plaintiffs were very particular here in saying, listen, even if you ban the named plaintiffs here and you give them the injunction, without being able to do business with all the other people along the chain of commerce that works, then they are still suffering irreparable harm. And of course, if we start beginning to extrapolate out, what does a firearms manufacturer, who do they need to do business with in order to maintain business? Well, we can extrapolate it out. It goes all the way out to the general public. I want to read the pleadings to you because I want you to understand where Firearms Policy Coalition is going, because what they're trying to do is say, hey, what about everybody else? And I think that is the important question that you want all answered. The motion for clarification reads as follows. Earlier today, this court granted appellant's motion for an injunction pending appeal as to the plaintiffs in this case. Appellants respectfully request clarification before the final rule goes into effect on May 31, 2023, as to the scope of that injunction to avoid any inadvertent violations of the final rule by persons who are uncertain if they are protected by the injunction. The government opposes this motion and plans to file an opposition. In their motion for an injunction pending appeal, appellants noted that relief as to Maxim Defense, but excluding its customers and intermediaries, would not allow Maxim Defense to sell braced pistols via federal firearms licensees to its customers. Maxim Defense thus requests clarification whether relief as to the plaintiffs includes injunctive relief for those individuals who purchase or accept transfer of braced pistols from Maxim Defense, those FFLs necessary to facilitate transfer, and those FFLs that stock and sell Maxim Defense's braced pistols, i.e. Maxim Defense's customers and intermediaries, such that Maxim Defense may continue with sales in compliance with existing federal firearms law as it did prior to the publication of the final rule. An injunction limited to Maxim Defense will not afford Maxim Defense any practical relief. But then the pleadings go on to extrapolate further, and this is the part that you really need to pay attention to here. Similarly, appellants noted that individual plaintiffs' family members could face constructive possession charges by being in the same house as individual plaintiffs. Appellants thus request clarification whether relief extends to family members who might be present in the house with individual plaintiffs possessing braces or braced pistols. Finally, plaintiff FPC filed this lawsuit on behalf of its members and noted that its individual and business members face comparable risks and restrictions to Maxim Defense and individual plaintiffs, all of who are members of FPC. Appellants thus request clarification as to whether the injunction extends to plaintiffs' FPC's existing members. And they wrap it up pointing out what the perils are without this clarification as follows. Absent such clarification before the time when the final rule goes into effect, Many persons interacting or residing with appellants, as well as members and customers of the organizational appellants, risk inadvertent violation of the final rule and potential prosecution, and appellants themselves will be unsure of the scope of the relief provided and how they can act to mitigate their otherwise irreparable injuries. So yes, for everyone out there who saw this video or any of the other videos who covered this somewhat injunction that was issued yesterday, the question of, hey, what about me? Well, that question is being asked by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Now, as you know, the government is opposing this, and we do anticipate that there is going to be some movement on this and some other clarification or definitive statements from the court. We also understand that oral arguments on this issue have already been scheduled for June 22nd, and there is a very rapid briefing schedule, so it appears that the court wants to get moving on this right away. The case, once again, that we've been talking about is Mock v. Garland. We're going to put the links for that down below. We will keep you posted as to what's going on, but right now, as of when you are watching this video, yes, the clock is still ticking, and that May 31st deadline is still out there. Listen, you may have more questions about the pistol brace rule, anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights. You guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now, but if you don't, that's okay, because that information is right there in the description box. In the meantime, I do want all of you to remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching, and stay safe.